Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Jay the Wonder Gamer video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the information that dropped last week for Samurai Warriors 5. But first, let's talk about when the next live stream for the game is going to happen, and that's going to be on March 24th. And what we can expect from there is the first reveal of the gameplay itself, so we'll finally get to see how that's going to look and how the game's going to run. A little bit on the story as well, and then they also mentioned that they plan to reveal either one or multiple new playable characters at the live stream, so that's very interesting. Then there was also a Famitsu article that pretty much talked about more about the story, the combat, and also a little bit more about the brand new playable characters that were revealed. Story-wise, I don't want to go too much in depth because it is basically just Oda's story, his beginning and his death at Honoji. I feel like we don't need to focus too hard on that until they give us more information on the story. But combat-wise is very interesting. We haven't actually heard anything on it, whether, it was going to be like the traditional charge system, if it's going to be something like Dynasty Warriors 6 with the Renbu system, or something like Dynasty Warriors 9 with the state combo system. But they did state that the hyper moveset that was introduced in Samurai Warriors 4 will be making a return. So that's very interesting and comforting to know that maybe we are going to get a charge system style itself. And then new for Samurai Warriors 5 is something called the Ultimate Skill System, and apparently it's going to work kind of like how the skill system in One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 did, where you're allowed to have up to 4 skills active, and they're going to have varying effects. Some are going to give stat bonuses, some are going to heal, some are going to increase your moveset, some are going to help you extend your combos, and there are going to be some unique skills specific to the characters. So that's very interesting. I can't really talk about much on that until we actually get to see it in action, so hopefully we get to show off a lot of that during the live stream. But essentially that's all the information we got based on the story and the new mechanics so far. But let's take a look at the brand new designs for the characters that were revealed, shall we? So the 4 most recent characters revealed are all returning characters with dramatically new redesigns, which I'm really happy for. But first, let's talk about the first guy up on it, and that is Nagamasa Azai, everyone's favorite gorgeous husband himself. And oh my god, look at him. He looks so different. No longer does he have like that knightly appearance. He now looks like a young scrapper. And to be honest, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Ieyasu Tokugawa from the Sengoku Basara franchise, just because of how he looks and how he's portraying himself. Fortunately, he does not wield gauntlets this time around. No, he's also traded out his iconic lance for a katana, much in the vein of Mitsuhide Akechi. So I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to play out. And I'm also interested to see how his personality might change, because he looks a lot more youthful than we've ever seen him, and I wonder if that's going to translate to being a more rash individual, more idealism, because he's usually portrayed as that. But I want to see if that naivete and everything is going to take to another level, just because of, again, how youthful he looks. Out of the redesigns, I'm pretty cool with this. Like I said, he just looks like a young scrapper to me, and not the super pretty boy we're used to. And of course, when we're talking about Nagamasa Azai, his lovely wife won't be too far behind, and also the sister of the Demon King himself, Oichi. Now, when I first saw this redesign, I was like, why the hell is Da Kiao in here? And then I was like, oh my god, that's Oichi! Because you can't tell me looking at this, she doesn't look like she could be one of the lost Kiao sisters from the Dynasty Warriors franchise. I find that very interesting that they're going back to a very youthful interpretation of her, because if you remember, I think Samurai Warriors 2, she was kind of still youthful, but a little more mature. This one seems to go back to her Samurai Warriors 1 roots, where she was really younger, and honestly, I think the design's really cool. It really does play up the youthful maiden. I just wonder how her personality is going to be this time around, because usually she's a soft-spoken but tough individual on the inside, so I'm just very curious to see how this version of her is going to be now that she's going to be portrayed as a more younger version of herself. And also with the change of, switching around characters' weapons, she also got rid of her hula hoops in exchange for probably what I think one of the most sadistic weapons Omega Force has ever thought of, and that is origami. And the only reason I say that is because, have you ever gotten a paper cut? Because if you have, you know how much that fucking hurts, and paper cuts are no lie. Honestly, the fact that she's able to command a legion of these is kind of funny to me, and like I said, very sadistic. The only thing I think outbeating that might be Dong Ai's drill lance, because that's also really sadistic if you think about it. But moving away from the interesting weapon designs for her, I really think this redesign is really good. I'm very interested to see how she's going to interact with Nagamasa and Nobunaga, and how her and No are going to be, because in the old games, it was kind of weird to see her interactions with Lady No, because they weren't really close, and like I said, they didn't really have anything. So I'm very interested to see how all those interconnected relationships was going to work. I definitely want to see how she's going to handle everything after Nagamasa Azai's death. Spoiler about that, sorry. Alright, and then next up we get to talk about a character that I'm really interested in and was hoping to make it into the game, and that is Toshiye Maeda. And holy hell, guys, look at this outfit. He looks so dramatically different, and he looks like he is not fucking around this time. I really enjoy how, like, rugged and, I guess, manly his new design looks. I'm a sucker for that cloak he's wearing, too. Yeah, he looks very different from what we're used to, and what's also different from what we're used to is he's no longer going to be wielding 2 spears and a sword. No, instead they've opted to give him just a spear, and it looks very interesting, and I'm also curious to see how his moveset's going to evolve around that. But I find also more interesting is the fact that his playstyle seems like it might match his new personality style, only because when we see the ultimate skills that I talked about earlier in the video, I believe characters get unique ultimate skills that represent their personalities, and Toshiye's is the first one we actually see, and it's called Relentless Storm, and as you can see in the picture, it just looks like he launched the people into the air and is beating them senseless like barrages of fish, which is really freaking awesome. So I'm definitely very interested to see how Toshiye is going to handle. They're also going to play up, I believe, the friendship between Toshiye and Nobunaga in his early years, so I'm very curious to see how that's going to work out too. But goddamn, do I really love how Toshiye looks, and I really hope he's going to be a blast to play. And then we come to the last character revealed, and it is probably my second second favorite character of the entire franchise next to Yukimura Sanada, and that is Tadakatsu Honda, the warrior who defied death himself. And oh my god, do I love this redesign. It is a more youthful looking Tadakatsu, because instead of going with the older version Tadakatsu, who was essentially already Japan's mightiest warrior from his presence, we're going with a more young version, and we get to see how he eventually grows into the role of becoming one of Japan's greatest warriors. And I love that aspect. And he's also going to have a different personality too. The older Tadakatsu was more, I guess, calm, collect, and rarely let his emotion show. This Tadakatsu, they seem to say, he's going to be a lot more hot-blooded, and he's going to be a lot more aggressive. I find that very interesting, because apparently it looks like Ieyasu is going to be a lot more somber and shy and reserved. So it is nice that he will have a warrior slash friend who's going to be a little more aggressive but supportive at the same time, and they're going to play that relationship too. And honestly, I do want to see the progression of Tadakatsu from, you know, how he starts to when he will eventually become one of Japan's greatest warriors. And he seems to be wielding Tomonggiri. Now, I don't know if that means he's going to have a unique moveset, because technically in the game it is stated that him and Toshiye kind of share the same weapon type. And like I said before in a previous video, I don't know if clone weapons or movesets are, well, clone weapons at this point are kind of confirmed, but I don't know about clone movesets. And I'm kind of hoping that they go the route that they used to do with Guan Yu and Zhang Liao in the old games, where they both pretty much had the same weapon, but they had vastly different move styles. So that's kind of my take and what I hope comes from it. But with Tadakatsu himself, like I said, I really like this redesign, and I love the fact that we get to see a younger, more hot-headed version of pretty much this stoic hero who never got hurt. And with that, guys, we come to the end of the information that was given to us via the Famitsu article on Samurai Warriors 5. And like I've said before, I'm loving these redesigns. I think they're going in a really good direction. It definitely gets you hyped to see who they reveal next. And since March 24th, we're going to be getting the gameplay reveal and possibly multiple new character reveals. And that's got me interested, because I want to know how many brand new characters we're going to get to the franchise, because like I said, we've only got 2 right now, and I think it'd be nice to have 4 to maybe 5 brand new characters and some returning characters from the old cast. Because remember, the story is going to revolve around Oda, so more characters we have that interact with Oda, I think is better. So hopefully we get some more Oda representatives too to go along with this. And like I've been talking about with the weapons and the fact that we've been seeing multiples and they've been stated to be the kind of same weapons, I'm really hopeful that just because they have clone weapons doesn't mean we're going to get clone movesets for the characters. But I have this horrible feeling that we might get clone movesets with the clone weapons, and that they might try to focus more on the skill system, which I'm kind of interested in, but at the same time I feel like that detracts from the characters, because if a character plays exactly like another character, there's no real incentive to play that other character that's the clone, because they'll do the exact same thing and you have to rely on other gimmicks to make them playable. But those are fears I have on this, and I'm kind of hopeful that on the March 24th live stream, when they finally reveal the gameplay, that'll put some of these fears to rest. And you know, I want to be wrong, guys. I really want to be wrong about this whole clone moveset thing, but I really just can't, because like I said, Koei has done this before with Dynasty Warriors 6, and I just don't want Samurai Warriors 5 to be like Dynasty Warriors 6 in that regards with the characters and their movesets. But I want to hold judgment of this game until I get to either see it or play it for myself, and hopefully the live stream will help alleviate these fears. But I want to thank you very much for watching the video if you're still here, and I want you all to have a great day, and remember, let's rock!